Good evening. Welcome to Monday's North West Tonight with Roger Johnson. Thanks for your company. Our top story. Charles III in Manchester. The King visited the synagogue, which was attacked earlier this month.
Very, very grateful for the royal family for all the support over the years.
And at a volatile time like this, it means a lot to us to have their support.
Charles also met police officers who responded to the incident. Also tonight, why local students are going to study medicine in Bulgaria so they can come back to join the NHS. Red alert. Defeat for the champions Liverpool deepens concerns on a red letter day for Manchester United. Calling in for a welcome break. The squadrons of geese using Lancashire as a service station for birds on their long migration south.
And something a bit more unsettled on the weather front this week. I'll be back at the end of the programme with all the details.
King Charles has been in Manchester today to meet survivors of the car and knife attack in which 2 people were killed at a synagogue earlier this month. The King then spoke to well-wishers who gathered on the street before meeting members of the emergency services who responded to the incident. Kevin Fitzpatrick has this report.
The King was met by Rabbi Daniel Walker as he arrived, wanting to show his support for the Jewish community after the attack on their holiest day. He spent a few minutes looking at the floral tributes and reading messages of condolence before heading in to meet around 40 members of the congregation who were there when it happened.
Very emotional, very exciting. Me and my wife both took off work to be able to be here and to see the King and to say the special blessing on the King.
The royal family have always been staunch supporters of the Jewish community here in England, and at a volatile time like this, it means a lot to us to have their support.
The congregation here appear to be happy that the King has been. He's still inside at the moment. This visit gone on longer than was expected. Inside, he spoke with those who bravely barricaded the door as Jihad al-Shami tried to force his way in, including one man who was accidentally shot by police, but is now out of hospital.
The rabbi sort of took him round as obviously introducing him to obviously the various people inside. I think it really sends out a message that it shows a lot of support from the very top of the country, and it was very special that he came.
And then a surprise for those waiting in the rain.
When he actually decided to cross the road and engage in a big huddle with the community, I thought that was fantastic. That was his decision, nobody else's, and it just shows his feeling, his heart for this community.
I think he's a very wonderful man. I think he's caring and he's nice and he's loyal to all his people who support him, and I think it was lovely of him to come and say hello to us.
The King later went on to police headquarters to meet emergency workers who responded to the attack.
He was lovely. He had a really nice chat with us, asked us kind of what our roles were on the day and kind of his understanding of the pressures that the ambulance service are under.
The Jewish community is still in shock at the attack that took the lives of 2 people, but it's clear King Charles's visit has brought some comfort at an incredibly difficult time. Kevin Fitzpatrick, BBC North West Tonight, Manchester.
Good to see a break in the rain just there. Right, here are some of the other stories that are making headlines in the North West tonight. And a 15-year-old boy's in a serious but stable condition in hospital after being stabbed in the back in Wirral. 4 teenagers have been arrested over the attack at Ridgewood Park in Pensby yesterday. 3 boys, 2 of them aged 13, and a 13-year-old girl are being questioned on suspicion of wounding. Bird flu's been confirmed in a poultry flock in Cumbria, with 10,000 birds being culled. The H5N1 strain has been found at a commercial site in Penrith. A protection and surveillance zone have both been put in place. Liverpool City Council is taking legal action against developers who owe money through agreements which are meant to fund local amenities like parks and affordable housing. Proceedings are planned for companies owing almost £2 million. We're off to the Southport Public Inquiry now, and a consultant psychiatrist who treated the teenager who killed 3 girls in Southport last year has told the public inquiry today that he hadn't read the perpetrator's medical records in full when he took over his care. Dr. Anthony Molyneux worked with the killer for 2 years before the attack. Mairead Smith has been following today's evidence and joins us now live from Liverpool Town Hall. So, Mairead, what more did Dr. Molyneux tell the inquiry today?
Well, Roger, Dr. Molyneux worked for Alderhay Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services, known as CAMS. Now, he admitted to the inquiry today that he hadn't read the perpetrator's electronic records in full when he took over his care, which left him unaware of a number of issues and incidents that had taken place. For example, when the killer took a hockey stick to his former school and attacked a pupil, or an incident when he had gone missing from his home. He was found 2 hours later on a bus in possession of a knife. Dr. Molyneux said that he had had a verbal handover, had read a written letter and had expected the teenager's parents to have informed him of past incidents during a visit to their home. But he spoke about what he called the stage management by the teenager's parents. He said there would appear to be repeated occurrences of the family appearing to stage manage the presentation of information provided to professionals, inferring in that they didn't give a full picture of what was happening or what had happened with their son, including the fact that they had actually received weapons for him and hidden them at their home in Banks. Now, the killer's risk had been assessed as minimal, and when asked if prior knowledge of those previous incidents would have perhaps changed this assessment, Dr. Molyneux told the inquiry, let's just say it would have been a significant blind spot.
And Mairead, the teenager was then discharged by Dr. Molyneux's team.
Yes, Roger, that discharge from CAMS was on the 23rd of July 2024. At that time, the 17-year-old's risk to others was said to be none. We now know that 6 days later, he carried out his attack at the Hart Space in Southport, killing 3 girls, Bibi King, Elsie Dodd Stancombe and Alice De Silva Aguirre, and injuring 10 others. The inquiry continues here tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Mairead Smith there. Now, a wheelchair user from Manchester says that disabled access on trains and at stations is getting worse. 47-year-old Doug Pally relies on public transport and has started filming his journeys to highlight the problems that he faces, from not being able to get off trains to luggage blocking the disabled seats. Kelly Foran has this report.
That's my booked wheelchair space.
This isn't a luggage area. It's Doug Pawley's pre-booked seat. He relies on public transport but says the access constantly lets him down.
It makes me feel slightly less than human, you know. Other people can just rock up at a station and get on a train. We are pressurised into booking in advance and it still goes wrong.
In this video, he was expecting the assistants he'd booked to come and put out a ramp. No one showed up. He was stuck. A passing train conductor jumped on to help. He too became stuck.
Well, now the door is locked.
And as for the people trying to get on and off the train, well, you can guess where this is going.
Right, so we're so sorry about this.
I felt invisible to the staff, but at the same time, really in the public eye. People are either waiting and bored and watching, or they are themselves inconvenienced by me, well, by the situation I'm in.
Even your journey here today, there were problems. You sent me a photo and the lift was out of order.
There was no sign warning that the lift was out, so I wheeled all the way to the lift just to find a barrier across it. To then find it's a good job I know the kind of catacomb bowels of the station.
He recently was told to arrive 20 minutes earlier for help, to be told...
You're travelling on 1742 to Leeds?
Yeah.
Right. Can you make your way to platform 14 now?
I'd turn up and then get told to go to the platform where they'll meet me, and then they never met me.
Have you been to let them know you're there?
And they told me to make my own way to 14.
Network Rail said they're reviewing the facts around Doug's claims, saying we take our responsibilities seriously and when we fall short, we listen, investigate and act, as we're doing now. They say they've provided more than 43,000 passenger assists so far this year and are committed to making rail travel accessible and inclusive for everyone. And TransPennine Express says staff would always help to move luggage, as they did in this instance. Kelly Foran, BBC North West Tonight, Manchester.
Now, if you were watching the programme on Friday, you'll know that Kelly, rather than being reporting from a train, was sitting on the sofa presenting the programme. And she mentioned how Greater Manchester Police are introducing facial recognition technology to help to catch suspected criminals. It goes live tomorrow. And Kelly asked for your thoughts. Well, I have to say lots of you got in touch. Thank you to everybody who did. Among them, Joe in Maghull. He says he's in favour. He adds that if you're a law-abiding citizen, then you've got nothing to worry about. And that's a view that was echoed by most of the people, I have to say, who did get in touch. They included Trish Adshead, Jason in Burnley, Dee Woodruff and Suzanne Lockett. Suzanne also says it would be better if the police didn't advertise that they're using it in order to catch more criminals. If you saw the report on Friday, though, you might remember that advance warning will be given and signs will be put up to tell people that facial recognition cameras are being used in the area. However, others do have concerns about the technology. Andy Floyd is worried about the potential intrusion on innocent people who look similar to somebody who is wanted. Carrie says the cameras aren't as accurate when identifying people with darker skin, and that's an issue that the human rights group Liberty has apparently also raised. Similarly, Donna in New Ferry says her partner, who is of African descent, is concerned that the technology can be used to discriminate and to target ethnic minorities. And lastly, Phoebe McNally from Bolton emailed to say that she's just completed a law degree with research focusing on this topic. She says she's got serious concerns about the lack of regulation and the police's freedom to set its own rules on how facial recognition is used. I have to say thank you to everybody who got in touch. I'm sorry we couldn't read out all the messages. There were lots of them. We read them all. And as always, you had some very interesting observations to make. Thank you. There'll be more on it on the programme tomorrow evening. In the meantime, here are some of the other stories that people are reading this evening from BBC News. Dorothy's 92. She is worried she'll be made homeless if her care home in Clayton Le Moors closes. Lancashire County Council's reviewing the 5 care homes and 5 day centres that it runs. A non-league football match in Oldham was abandoned at the weekend when fans and players started fighting. Avro were leading Kidsgrove Athletics 6-0 when a visiting player is alleged to have hit a fan. And Liverpool John Lennon Airport has new owners tonight. Peel sold its stake to the investment firm Ancala, which now owns almost all the shares. You can find out more at bbc.co.uk/local news, or as always, have a look on the BBC News app. Now, we often hear about the need for doctors in the NHS, and the government says that it is training them. So why are medical students from the Northwest going to study in Bulgaria? It's the fastest growing country in the world in terms of supplying doctors to the UK, and most of those are British. This is something that our health correspondent Jill Dummigan will be looking at this week on the programme. And here is the first of her reports.
In Bolton, Mohammed's stocking up for the term ahead.
So normally, just before I go back, we normally shop a lot of stuff that we make here and we take over just so we can get a taste at home.
He's beginning his 5th year of medical school, the first in his family to leave home for university.
What do you miss about Bolton when you're not here?
Family, friends.
In Preston, Freya's catching up on studying.
I have a lot of new subjects: biochemistry, medical psychology, social medicine, physiology.
All over the country, students have been getting ready to get back to uni.
But Mohammed and Freya are going further than most because they've joined an increasing number of medical students coming here, Bulgaria, to do their degree.
Bulgaria is the fastest growing country in the world, supplying doctors to the UK. The numbers are still tiny compared to countries like India and Nigeria, but most of those Bulgarian graduates are actually UK students who've gone abroad to study.
We have students from Greece, Turkey, these are the neighboring countries, then Italy and Germany, Canada, United States, but most of the students, about 40%, come from UK.
So why? This is one of Bulgaria's best medical schools with internationally recognised degrees. It costs around the same to study here as at home. But in Britain, there's a recognised lack of medical school places, meaning competition to get them is intense.
I applied for universities here. I got interviews, but I didn't get offers. So I just decided, instead of taking a gap year and reapplying, that I'd look at options abroad.
Bulgaria prioritises an entrance exam over A-level grades, and it's a 6-year course, one more than here.
One of my friends told me that his brother already studies within Bulgaria, and he was planning on going himself. And he said to me that it's actually a better opportunity to go abroad because the degree itself is EU recognised.
Even so, going out to a foreign country alone's a big step for a teenager who's never left home before.
My mother was very worried. My father wanted me to stay strong and independent, but the rest of my family didn't know what to expect.
Do you remember when you first went out there? Were you a bit nervous?
Oh yeah, I was really nervous to start with, but it's actually not bad. I really like it there. The city's beautiful and I found some great friends.
They're very welcoming, they're very warm, and as long as you give people the effort, you know, you're willing to learn, you're willing to integrate within their culture, they're willing to welcome you back.
So, what's life like as a student in Bulgaria? Tomorrow we'll be finding out. Jill Duggan, BBC North West Tonight, Plovdiv.
Yeah, the second of Jill's reports tomorrow. She's also, interestingly, compiled a documentary looking at this issue for the BBC World Service. You can find it by searching for The Business Daily on BBC Sounds if you'd like to listen. Right, let's move on to sport. Ian is here. Only one place to start. Manchester United smiling, the fans. Liverpool facing something like a crisis, first time for a long time.
Well, it's certainly starting to feel a little bit like that, isn't it, Roger? Further proof, really, of how quickly things can change in football. A few weeks ago, Liverpool, boosted by some massive money summer signings, were top of the Premier League. Now they're fourth and one defeat away from losing 5 games in a row in all competitions, something they've not done since 1953. But as they slide, yesterday's opponents, Manchester United, are having a perhaps equally unexpected revival.
Like winning a throw-in, winning a second ball, pushing the opponent to their half sometimes when we won the second ball. That is really important, and they did that so much better than...
Because you know how it works in football. If we can keep bringing these performances in, we will have a fair chance of winning more football games.
For supporters, all defeats hurt, but losing to your big rivals hurts even more.
It's just absolutely appalling defending. I think there's definitely a lot of problems at play right now. I wouldn't say crisis is the word. However, you know, give a couple more losses back to back and who knows, you know, those convos will have to be had. But right now, I think Liverpool have got so many problems on the plate, and the problem is that I don't even know where to start with them, so never mind where Slot needs to start with them. Liverpool eventually get back into the game because they've got all of these attackers on the pitch. There is absolutely no balance. You're where to bank on. It would be him when the ball lands at his feet, and right now he's not putting it in the back of the net.
To equalise a second time than that.
It would be hard for me to say that I think Liverpool will be in a title race because 4 points behind, but a lot needs to change in such a short amount of time.
Manchester United's season's back on track.
Thanks to Chloe from Red Men TV there. Now, while Liverpool struggle, Manchester City is starting to look like Manchester City again, with Erling Haaland getting 2 more goals as they beat Everton to move up to second in the Premier League. Meanwhile, Burnley, one would think, well, it was a bad weekend for our Championship sides, with Preston and third bottom Blackburn losing. But in League One, Stockport County won at home to Exeter thanks to Nathan Lowe's goal. Wigan Athletic hadn't won for 5 weeks, but Malay Sasamoa's goal gave them victory over Port Vale. In League Two, Salford beat Oldham Athletic with this Dan Udoh goal, and they climbed to 7th. Elsewhere, Charlie McCann clinched a great win for Walsall for Barrow, who were up to 15th, while 2 Connor Jennings goals helped Tranmere to a 4-1 win at Bristol Rovers. And Accrington Stanley thrashed promotion hopeful Swindon Town 4-0 with a hat-trick from Paddy Madden. Well, we've spoken a lot lately about all the good things going on at Sale Sharks, but unfortunately they had a weekend to forget. They were hammered 65-14 at Saracens in a match dominated by 19-year-old Noah Kalori, who scored 5 tries on his first start, remarkably. Next up for Sharks, another tough game, Leicester away on Saturday. And Tommy Fleetwood here. He's had a brilliant year, hasn't he? And it got even better yesterday as the Southport golfer won another title. His two-shot victory at the DP World India Championship follows on from his maiden PGA Tour victory in August and his recent Ryder Cup heroics. And here is his 8-year-old son, Frankie, who came on to congratulate him. How nice is that, Rog?
Fantastic. Probably a chip off the old block. I expect he's quite handy as well. Ian, thank you very much indeed. Right, we've got the weather with Keely in just a moment. But before that, the latest in our series, taking a look at some of the region's autumn treats. And this is a pink-footed goose. Thousands of them stop off in Lancashire as they migrate south for winter. Ron, who emailed just a few minutes ago to say that's wrong and they stay in the northwest, well, apparently most go south to the Wash. This is our only close-up of one, though. Philip, fuming. I called them a squadron. You're right, of course. They're a skein, a gaggle, whatever, but I use the term loosely because, as you're about to see, they arrive in this part of the world like an invading air force. It's a peaceful place, the wetland centre at Martin Mere. The birdwatchers sit in silence. Sometimes only the quack of a duck pierces it. Cornelius used to come here from his home in Skelmersdale as a child. Now he's got a 12-month work placement and is living on the reserve.
Certainly as far as the job goes, you know, no 2 days are the same. You could be doing one job one day and something completely unrelated the next. It's always so varied. But I think just seeing the birds and just being a part of their lives really is a big part of it for me. Everything about it, it's just such a wild place, such a, you know, fantastic place to be, really.
Some of the birds live here all year round. Those which migrate from further north have been waiting for the right time to fly in.
You keep your eye on the weather because when you see the northerly wind coming from Iceland, you know that all these pink feet have been sat, along with hooper swans, being sat on the bottom of Iceland waiting for a good wind to jump off and come here. You always know that the next day you're just going to hear that cacophony of sound.
Ah yes, the sound. You'll know it when you hear it. Occasionally they fly the hundreds of miles from their breeding grounds on the edge of the Arctic Circle in one day. Most then move further south for winter.
Martin Mere for a lot of pink-footed geese is just a pit stop. Sort of come down from Iceland and Greenland, stop off for a few days, get some spuds, feed up, get stronger for the journey south.
And the geese's arrival draws birders from far and wide.
Even though these birds are quite ordinary that we're watching at the moment, they're fighting and they're feeding and they're squabbling with each other. It's just great fun to come and try and take some pictures.
And especially nowadays when we see how nature declines, it is really heartening to see the thousands of geese in one place coming back year after year.
And here they come, like squadrons of inbound aircraft. Officials here at Martin Mere estimate that the global population of pink-footed geese has probably doubled in about the last 20 years, and several thousand of them, as you saw, just flew overhead. There's not a single one left in the sky. But have a listen to this.
Take someone else and show them a flock of hooper swans or a flock of geese flying in of an evening. That does something to your soul. That's what really affects people and that's what really protects nature.
Martin Mere caters for all ages, all year round, but it's open free of charge from 5:30 until 7 p.m. on Wednesdays and Saturdays until the end of the month, so everyone can enjoy this spectacle. But you might want to bring some earplugs. It really was quite something to witness, I have to say. On the subject of geese, just before the weather, when is a goose not a goose? When it's a pony named Goose, and this is one, is born at Smithills Farm in Bolton. It's an Eriskay foal, and there are thought to be only about 400 of the ponies left in the world. Oh, very sweet. Right, let's have a look at the weather. Keely is with us. Keely, evening to you. It's Monday, so there's a new place on the map tonight.
There is indeed, yes. Diane Harvey has suggested Maggle in Merseyside to celebrate the award-winning green space that they've created there. So watch out, Diane. It will be on the map this evening, and I hope little Eva the dog is watching too. So I thought these were really lovely moody skies in Cheshire taken by Tracy yesterday. Thanks for this, Tracy. And some sunshine. Not all of us saw it today, but over parts of Cumbria we did see some cloud breaks. Thank you, Jude, for sending that one in as well. And I think they'll be a bit more varied, the Weather Watchers pictures this week, because the weather's a bit more varied too. You can send it into Weather Watchers, or we're on social media as well. Tomorrow, though, a bit more of the same as today. So it is going to be showery, but I'm hopeful those showers will move through a little bit more swiftly because there is a little bit more of a breeze. Now, the showers are down to these mini fronts that we call troughs. Another one moving west to east through tomorrow. And then there will be a bit of a break on Wednesday, a bit of a lull in that rain as high pressure dominates for a day. And we're going to see those showers, which are currently quite heavy across the Pennines at the moment, ease for a time this evening. Just one or two moving through, but also some clear spells, perhaps a little bit of patchy mist. And then those showers returning from the west later in the night as temperatures drop back to 10 or 11 degrees. So showers from the word go, I'm afraid, tomorrow. They'll keep piling in from the west. Yes, there'll be some drier, hopefully brighter spells as well, but there'll always be that risk of another shower moving through. And again, like today, they could be heavy, but hopefully moving through a bit more swiftly. Some brightness. Those showers tending to ease later on in the day, and that's the best chance of any brightness. I think the Isle of Man brightening up first, a bit more of a breeze, as I mentioned, and temperatures a little bit lower than today's values, 13 to 15 degrees. So looking further ahead on Wednesday, a ridge of high pressure settles things down, one or two showers, but generally fine with some sunshine. Breezy on Thursday, and then rain on Friday, cooler. A taste of autumn for the weekend, Roger.
Keely, thank you very much. A couple of mentions for McGull tonight. That's very good. Goosegate, you know your birds. Apparently it was a grey lag goose in the screen. 4 people have said that. It was labelled up as a pink-footed goose, but all the ones in the sky were pink-footed geese anyway. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.